4:27. I almost forgot where I was. For those of you joining me for the very first time, this is me just responding to various questions and comments again on various different videos. I never censor my comment. I always can encourage people to say their piece. Whether we agree, disagree, agree to disagree, it's always good. So say your piece. 21st of October, 2016. Let's jump into it. Hey, Reg, someone else in the room with you at 2015 scared the shit out of me. Whatever it was. Anyways, it's probably my dad just on the phone with somebody cracking jokes or something. Anyways, do you think there are enough left to fight for these corrupt assholes? I rarely hear of people joining the police or military anymore, at least where I live. Anyway, keep it up. I enjoy your videos. Oh, the thing is they're just asleep right now. I do believe, like you are seeing, like I said in the previous video about the hellhounds, you're seeing them come out of the work now. Donald Trump is a version of a hellhound. He's first wave. Second wave are a little more violent. Third wave are total genocidal maniacs. That said, there are going to be a lot of good people fighting. They are fighting. It just, you have to understand, we're fighting a system that's been set up for decades. You know what I mean? Like, since World War II, the New World Order is pretty much setting itself up. And you can now call it the Old World Order, and it's falling. It's failing. Other countries around, over there in the Philippines, Duterte, you know what? We're now separating ties from the United States. The man just marked himself for death. I mean, when did the A-10s come in? How dare you ditch the U.S. like that? You know what I mean? Hats off to him. I'm not a big fan of his. I mean, he's a genocidal maniac. You know, I mean, what, 3,000 people have been killed since he's taken power? You know, drug dealers and stuff. Say, yeah, but they're getting rid of the drug dealers stuff. Were they really drug dealers? I mean, how good were their trials? You know what I mean? That type of thing. That's what a hellhound looks like. They're just overthrow the system. Doesn't mean they're necessarily going to be good guys. I don't think Duterte is going to be a good guy for his people, but I think he's going to be an iron fist, do the right thing or we kill you. That's the way he's going to be. So I think he's going to be kind of like Saddam, to be honest with you. Next to that, that's going to rub off from country to country, and it probably will rub off with the lead of the United States. Now, the Black Lives Matter stuff, they're going to get a lot of African Americans killed. That's the race war. The Rothschild insider leaked that, yeah, the Rothschilds are clearly trying to start a race war. They want it. They need it. And the reason why they want it and they need it is simple, is because if they can get that, then they can blame, you know, the economy failing on that. Plus, they get martial law. They can lock down the society. Trust me, once we go under martial law, we're never going to see the light of day again unless we fight for it. That type of thing. That said, I think there's enough people, they just haven't, your patriots and stuff like that, they don't shoot first. They never shoot first. They're never going to shoot first. They will put up with a lot. But at some point, yes, push is going to come to shove. I think it's when they do gun confiscation in the direct. That's, you know, when they start using the military to go collect guns door to door, or the police force, same thing. I mean, the police are militarized for a reason, and it takes time. They took a decade to do it, pretty much. But they're almost ready now. They've got all the, you know, military stuff, that type of thing. But that said, if you're a police officer and you're just following orders, you're going to get a bullet to the head. Your family's going to get killed. This is what happens in Mexico. I'm not making threats. But if you can't see, I can't warn people any more than anything. You don't go along. You turn against the system, not the people. I can understand, okay, this person did something bad, you go get them. But when you just, oh, well, a new law came out, we got to go round up everybody's guns. And they're going to do it. They're going to do it. When they do, they're going to get bullets in the face. So, again, you're setting police officers up to get shot for nothing. Now, the problem is the type of police officer that they are recruiting, even though recruitment's low, is the authoritarian type. There's a reason why the military is trying to get as many foreigners in the military as possible, because they'll have no problem opening firing on American citizens. Why? It's not their own people. They don't care. That type of thing. So, which leads, trust me, as soon as that starts happening, those groups, you know, it will lead to the ultimate divide and conquer. But the problem is the dominant group, again, no country, no matter how technically savvy it is. Oh yeah, but they got spy grids everywhere. They got cameras everywhere. Rock trumps camera. Yeah, it's a $10,000 camera. Slingshot, rock, no more camera. Yeah, well, they saw the guy who did it. Yeah, but they didn't see the other 85 guys that ran back and ran the rank. You know, burnt the police station, did this, did that. You know, that type of thing. Burnt down the policymakers. And then, of course, there's just going to be people that, you know, the smart people, they're not going to go. The smart revolutionaries don't take to the streets. If you haven't figured that out by now. And they're ready to go. And these are going to be military guys. I call them hellhounds. They're just going to start knocking off these politicians. The problem with that is it goes tit for tat. Their side, our side, and then it goes third wave, full military coup. I predict probably by 2017 you will have a U.S. military coup in the States. It's after Hillary Clinton wins. If Donald Trump wins, there will be no military coup, but there's going to be a massive economic collapse, and in that you could see Soros and stuff like that, unless people take out Soros, which I think is coming. I mean, at some point, Kissinger and Soros are marked for death. How these guys haven't taken them out yet, I don't know. I'm not making any threats. I'm just saying, who can't see it coming? Who can't see it coming? The Rothschilds, Rockefellers, there's a reason why they're all building, even Bill Gates, there's a reason why they all build these bunkers and they're filling them up and talk about how, well, after the war comes, we'll be like the new Adam and Eve. They're not going to survive it. Those bunkers, sure, some of them we might not be able to find, because they won't tell us where it is. But the people who make the bunkers, guess what? You don't think that they're going to grab their children, put tires around them with diesel fuel on it, and say, "You're going to tell me where that bunker is." Whose loyalty do you think they're going to have? You know what I mean? Like, it's going to be brutal. Why? This is what you see in Mexico. You tell us where who the mole is, or we're going to kill your whole family in front of you. I'd squeal. You know what I mean? I'd squeal. I love my family that much, and most people will. Will all of them? Well, the poor bastards who actually don't know where things are, they're going to be brutalized. But that said, the people that do, again, you built these bunkers. Who's in them? Where are they? That's it. That's their tombs. Now, if they're lucky, they can get to those bunkers, get the war going. But that said, anybody that survives that war that will remember the system at all, and the people that were most likely to come out of go after them, are the people that are awake. And the people that are awake are most likely to survive. And if they survive, there is no world elite that doesn't get shot in the head as soon as they come up. It'll be like a groundhog accost. There's one, bang. There's one, bang. That's what's going to happen. Again, I'm not calling for it. I make no threats to anybody. But if you can't see it coming, I don't know what to tell you. And I think there's a lot, and there's enough law enforcement, military guys out there saying that, yeah, we're on the brink of a civil war here in Canada, or in the United States. Up here in Canada, most Canadians have no idea what's going on down there. They know that the American election is completely crazy, but they have no idea, what's going on down there. And yeah, it's very crazy down there. Now the populism, again, the smart people aren't going to go into the streets, protesting against Black Lives Matter. It's pointless. You don't fight them there. You fight them either intellectually through making videos and stuff like that. You fight them by exposing who's funding them, like George Soros and Clintons and Rothschilds, Rockefellers, etc., and you get them that way. But other than that, you don't get them. But no, there will be people stepping up. The problem is it's always darkest before the light. When Rome is burning, people die. That's kind of... So just prepare accordingly. Keep you and your family safe. If you could stay out of it, because once you get sucked into it... And again, I don't know who the good guys are going to be. Usually out of these kind of things, no good guys come out. So anyway, good comment. Next one goes. Something else to consider is how much of this is a distraction. Probably 90% of it. To keep people fighting over the government handouts and refugee programs. To keep people from growing awareness of the larger issue and the bigger plan, possibly coming global war. And for the formation of global governance. To keep people fighting amongst themselves instead of looking at their real enemies. Because I think... the 20,000 handout is a bit of an obvious ploy. Yeah, that guaranteed income or whatever. Yeah, these type of things, again, we're looking at them, and again, you have to understand, the masses are dumbed down. Maybe not that they're stupid people, but they have no idea that they're being taken. It's only after that they understand that, this whole thing was a scam. Iraq war. It was a scam. So I'm not going to go a second time. You know what I mean? I'm not going to go a second time. You're not going to make that. And people are now, it's to the point where they can only do so much of a scam, and then to the point where they can't hide it anymore. They don't get that they can't hide it anymore. So I think it is failing. I think things are going partially according to plan, but I think for the most part the old world order is failing. The problem is who's coming up in its place, and how bad are they going to be? If we do it right, we can do it. And what Trump is the nonviolent revolution, if you haven't figured that out. He's about as passive as we can get at this point globally. That said, at some point it will turn violent. Now, when Trump loses... Okay, I'll just finish up on this. When Trump loses the election, and it's a clear, obvious steal from Hillary Clinton, that is giving the nod to a lot of people to take action. Protests won't, again, the people that are in the know that protesting isn't going to get us anywhere other than pepper spray. Leftists protest because they're stupid. They don't know how to protest properly. They don't know how to expose things. Some do. But in general, no, leftists go to the street and they believe anything they're told and they fall for the problem, reaction, solution. They're in a narrative brainwashed by a deeply religious cultural Marxism, which allows them to only argue racist, bigot, homophobe, xenophobe, etc. like that. Not, well, these problems wouldn't exist if government employee A didn't support the system of politician A, B, C, whatever, that type of thing. That's where you need to make your attack, is at the top, not at the bottom. The people at the bottom don't know anything. They're compartmentalized. But many are waking up to it. And there's so many people, I think, awake now. Like even up here in Canada, like there's a lot of people that don't know what's going on in the States because we have one propaganda channel here and a few other umbrella corporations under the CBC. So they believe all this stuff about Hillary Clinton and everything about Donald Trump, and that Hillary Clinton is so, such a victim and whatever. But once they start looking into it, and I tell everybody, the proof should be in the pudding. They never put a single Donald Trump speech on the CBC. You know what I mean? They won't do that. And Hillary Clinton, well, she's not really doing any speeches, but they won't do it. And because they won't do it, that should be your first flag. Well, where's the nonpartisan? You know what I mean? I thought there was a law in Canada that said that they can't be partisan during elections, even American elections. We have to treat it with sensitivity. Clearly, that went out the window. So the CBC should be defunded right away. I don't care if people lose their job on that. I mean, Stalin's secretary deserved the firing squad too. That's all I'll say. But and I think she did actually. I think they killed a couple of their secretaries. But you get the idea. If you enable the system, you have to step away from the system. I get it. Well, yeah, but it's my job, and there's no other jobs right now. I get that, the rock and the hard place. But it's what's more important: a job or the survival of your family. You know what I mean? Like that's the type of thing. That's what you have to. That's what Americans have to face right now. That they are going into a mode where they're being set up for a civil war, a civil race war, and an economic collapse, and all kinds of bad stuff. They're being set up for it. And yes, here in Canada, I don't know how we're going to treat it, because usually when the States goes to war with itself, sometimes we get dragged in, and we don't want to be dragged in. Sir John A. Macdonald was able to keep us off the rocks on that one. Our first Prime Minister. He was very, he stayed out of it, he stayed nonpartisan. That was the smart thing to do. And that way we didn't get tied, he understood that 1812 was a bad thing for Canada, it was a bad thing for the United States, and it was a worse thing for our relations. And he didn't want to see a repeat of that. So Justin Trudeau, I don't know what Justin Trudeau, I think Justin Trudeau will just be a deer in headlights. He will not be a leader in conflict. I mean, he's just not, he's not going to know what to do. That said, the problem is the amount of refugees that are going to come from the States into Canada. Well, that war is going to spill over here, Democrat versus Republican, particularly the people that don't really know what's going on. And we don't want to see that here. We don't want it here. You keep that craziness down there. But that said, there's also that it's getting to the point, and I mean, if you haven't noticed the amount of Canadian truthers that are out there, it's unbelievable. You got Press for Truth. You got quite a few Stéphane Molyneux. You got people like that. They're all up here in Canada, and a lot of people follow him, particularly like Stéphane Molyneux. I don't follow him all the time, but he is very methodical. He makes his argument. Yeah, I don't agree with everything he says, but you're not going to be able to bullshit the guy. You know what I mean? You're not going to bullshit. He's going to have his opinion, sure, whatever. He's going to have his biases, sure, whatever. But you're not going to be able to bullshit the guy. And I like to think I'm one of those guys too. You're not going to be able to bullshit. So when I get, well, we should elect Hillary because of this. No, I'm saying you don't have a good choice between Hillary or Donald Trump. But Donald Trump is not necessarily lesser of the evils. He's closer to salvation than, in the sense of, you can survive Donald Trump. Hillary Clinton gets so many people killed. A no-fly zone with Russia is a death sentence for so many American men and soon-to-be American women. With the draft and all that. You have to see it for what it is. And it's not, because I hate Donald Trump, I'm willing to send, and again, I think Stéphane Molyneux put it very, very well. That, the women in the United States can sway the vote for a Hillary Clinton win if they want. I don't think they will, but yes, we know, same thing up here in Canada. Justin Trudeau got voted for, pretty much, I think 80% women voted for him. Why? He has nice hair. Oh, he seems like such a nice guy. No, you can't do that anymore. You just can't do that anymore. That's why, like I say, if I ever start a nationalist party up here, like there is a nationalist party in Canada. Problem is that, and I'd love to talk to the guy that runs it or whatever. He's too 1933 Germany. No, we live in Canada. Let's put out some policies that are Canada first type of thing. That's all we need to do. We don't need to do any references to Hitler or anything like that. Too many grandfathers here died fighting Hitler. You know what I mean? It's never going to fly. I'm not saying, and I get it, World War II, it's a gray area. Hitler wasn't a good guy either. And trust me, you don't want a Hitler type in power. He did some good things, yes, there's no doubt about that. And the good things he did were phenomenal. I mean, one of the first to have environmental laws was Germany under Hitler. Animal rights under Hitler. A whole bunch of stuff. The People's Car, the Volkswagen Beetle, still alive and well today. And some of them in original condition, you know what I mean? He made sure that the country wasn't so over-industrialized that everybody be out of work, like a robot economy like we have now, coming in a robot economy. And the coming robot economy is basically the reason why they're advocating for a universal income, so that people could still consume. And it's such a ridiculous system that it's like it's just so ridiculous. It's like we have to make sure that we can hold power. Like, why do these world elites have to have so much power? It makes no sense. Like, why do you need it all? You can't take it with you. Why can't you just enjoy your life? You know what I mean? It's like, but no, these people they're sick. They're sick. And out of that, well, radical begets radical. And I know I'm going on a bit long now, but it's one of the things with what we're going to see in the States, I think, is just unbelievable. We're already seeing unbelievable stuff, but I think it's going to get a lot worse before it gets better. The only thing I say is when you see it happen, stay out of the way. When you see people getting knocked off left, right, and center, stay out of the way. When you see the riots, try to avoid them. If you have to take, keep your ears to the radio in your cities, particularly down there in the States when all these flash riots happen. And a couple of days before the election, I really recommend that you stock up food, water, stuff like that. If you're law enforcement, military, you got to get the job done. You got to arrest the world elites. You have to. It's us or them. If you love your family, if you don't want to see your country go to war, you have to put these people in jail. There will be destabilization. Trust me, these people are going to have contingency plans if they're taken down. There's a reason why George Soros and Henry Kissinger and Zbigniew Brzezinski are still alive. They have something on somebody. Otherwise, these people would have been probably taken out a long time ago. The Clintons, the same thing. They kill people that can testify. We clearly see that. The idea of how many people, let's say someone who's going to testify against you, and they died the day before the trial. That would be a freak accident. Now, what if it kept happening? You know what I mean? That's the thing about Hillary Clinton. Like, everybody, feels so bad that they have to testify against her that they commit suicide. You know what I mean? Like, no, yeah, you see it for what it is. And I think there's going to be a lot of good people, but these good people come out of the ashes to fight probably the third wave hellhounds who will probably be doing it for the right. The military is going to come in and do a military coup in the United States to take over from Hillary Clinton or whatever. And they're going to do it for the right reasons, but they're going to just shoot anybody and everybody. Like the third wave hellhound is a genocidal maniac. In the name of freedom or in the name of this. I mean, how many people get killed in the name of freedom? That's not really about freedom. But while we're at freedom, we're going to make sure there's martial law everywhere. Like that type of thing. So you can be free. So I really don't want to see it go to that, but it does look like it's heading in that direction. What's the timeline? I don't know. But we're kind of a bit of in a quickening, like I said. So after the election, I think that's when we see the quickening of it. It'll be calm before the, well, maybe not calm. It's going to be rioting before the storm. Again, the right-wingers don't riot. They don't go and burn police cars. They don't do what they call the chimp outs and stuff like that. I know it's a bit of a derogatory term, but, it's warranted when people burn down their own communities. That's not, it's inexcusable, that type of thing. So when you look at that, you have to look at it and say, hey, you know what? I'm not a part of this. I don't care what make, model, creed, race, or you are, whatever. I do not like seeing people kill each other over something so stupid as globalism. It's the dumbest thing to die for. It's the worst cause. Fighting for a nation, there are ways to do it. There are ways not to do it. It's uncharted territory, and nobody ever really gets it right, and nobody ever can do it without bloodshed. That's the worst part of it. That said, can you avoid a lot of it? Well, stock up food, bread, bullets, water, stuff like that. Be careful where you vote. If you can vote at a voting poll that's not too popular, That's probably the best way to go. But understand, keep your head on a swivel when you're at these voting polls. There could be a Molotov cocktail coming into your face, that type of thing. I do believe that the radical lefties will be out full force on that. That's what starts a civil race war in the States. They are looking for a reason to cancel the election. If they can't start a war with Russia, plan B is, riots, race riots. And it will be race riots and stuff like that. I'd be surprised, again, 3 days before the election, I think is probably the precursor to the day after the election. The day after the election, I think is going to be the stunner. Hillary Clinton wins, and everybody's going to be sitting there going, now what? And then at that point, it's game over, game over and all bets are off. And then, all bets are off and game on. That's what it's going to be the day after the election. So when Hillary Clinton wins, how fast, she is going to move fast to get us into a war with Russia and stuff like that, like within as soon as possible. Because I don't think she's even going to wait for her inauguration type of thing, in January. It's going to be very, very, very quick. I think, we're going to transition power quicker, that type of thing. I know these things are supposed to take time, but trust me, they're not going to take their time on this. They're going to make her the queen as quickly as possible. I can almost sense it. The media would not have put this much effort in otherwise. But if it doesn't happen, it doesn't mean it will happen the day after. It could be months after, that type of thing. We'll have to wait and see. But we will see riots. From the right wing, we're going to see a lot of griping and whining, but we're also going to see a lot of waking up of anybody that's like, oh my God, the election just got stolen by Hillary Clinton. Now what do we do? Prepare for war. That's pretty much all you can do. Next to that, again, I never call for violence, but when you know what's coming, you got to be able to defend yourself and you got to defend your family. Unfortunately, there's going to be so many soldiers and law enforcement. History shows that, yes, most of them just follow orders. Very rarely will they not. So most of them, yes, will shoot citizens on sight during martial law. There's going to be no doubt about that. At first, they'll just round you up, but at some point it gets to the point, well, if they're out after the curfew, they should be shot anyway. People do go to that kind of authoritarian mindset, not realizing that how it affects them. I mean, there are still people in Russia that think communism is a good idea. You know what I mean? Like, you of all people, if you're Russian, you should know communism is a bad idea. It didn't work for you the first 20 times, you know what I mean? And you have to understand the birth of the neocon comes from Russia, and it comes out of that same group of communists and Trotskys and stuff like that. So that's the thing we have to look at, and that's who's running the system. So anyway, I guess I'm babbling now, so I'll leave it out about that. So anyway, if you like this kind of content, please consider making a donation to the channel. Links down below. Thank you so much to everybody who has. Next to that, rate, subscribe, share, comment, like. Be true to yourself, be true to others, and be true to Kazoo. Say, what's up? What's up? Say it. Have yourselves a great day, eh? And more cat treats. There needs to be more cat treats in everybody's life. Right, Kazoo? Hey, Kazoo, what's up? What? That your liking? That your liking? I'll pull your tail. I can't even see your toes from here. Here we go. Anyway, yeah, there we go. Hey, and welcome. Q&A. 427. I almost forgot where I was. For those of you joining me for the very first time, this is me just responding to various questions and comments to get on various different videos. I never censor my comment. I always can encourage people to say their piece. Whether we agree, disagree, agree to disagree, it's always good. So say your piece. 21st of October, 2016. Let's jump into it. Hey, Red, someone else in the room with you at 2015 scared the shit out of me. Whatever it was. Anyways, it's probably my dad just on the phone with somebody cracking jokes or something. Anyways, do you think there are enough left to fight for these corrupt assholes? I rarely hear of people joining the police or military anymore, at least where I live. Anyway, keep it up. I enjoy your videos. Oh, the thing is they're just asleep right now. I do believe, like you are seeing, like I said in the previous video about the hellhounds, you're seeing them come out of the work now. Donald Trump is a version of a hellhound. He's first wave. Second wave are a little more violent. Third wave are total genocidal maniacs. That said, there are going to be a lot of good people fighting. They are fighting. You have to understand, we're fighting a system that's been set up for decades. You know what I mean? Like, since World War II, the New World Order is pretty much setting itself up. And you can now call it the Old World Order, and it's falling. It's failing. Other countries around over there in the Philippines, Duterte, you know what? We're now separating ties from the United States. The man just marked himself for death. I mean, when did the A-10s come in? How dare you ditch the U.S. like that? You know what I mean? Hats off to him. I'm not a big fan of his. I mean, he's a genocidal maniac. I mean, what, 3,000 people have been killed since he's taken power? Drug dealers and stuff. Say, yeah, but they're getting rid of the drug dealers stuff. Were they really drug dealers? I mean, how good were their trials? You know what I mean? That type of thing. That's what a hellhound looks like. They're just overthrow the system. Doesn't mean they're necessarily going to be good guys. I don't think Duterte is going to be a good guy for his people, but I think he's going to be an iron fist, do the right thing or we kill you. That's the way he's going to be. So I think he's going to be kind of like Saddam, to be honest with you. Next to that, that's going to rub off from country to country, and it probably will rub off with the lead of the United States. Now, the Black Lives Matter stuff, they're going to get a lot of African Americans killed. That's the race war. The Rothschild insider leaked that. Yeah, the Rothschilds are clearly trying to start a race war. They want it. They need it. And the reason why they want it and they need it is simple, is because if they can get that, then they can blame, the economy failing on that. Plus, they get martial law. They can lock down the society. Trust me, once we go under martial law, we're never going to see the light of day again unless we fight for it. That type of thing. That said, I think there's enough people, they just haven't, your patriots and stuff like that, they don't shoot first. They never shoot first. They're never going to shoot first. They will put up with a lot. But at some point, yes, push is going to come to shove. I think it's when they do gun confiscation in the direct, that's, when they start using the military to go collect guns door to door, or the police force, same thing. I mean, the police are militarized for a reason. And it takes time. They took a decade to do it, pretty much. But they're almost ready now. They've got all the, military stuff, that type of thing. But that said, if you're a police officer and you're just following orders, you're going to get a bullet to the head. Your family's going to get killed. This is what happens.